Okay guys, we have a LSU York unit that my dad put in several years ago. There it is, LSU. According to what the way the customer's describing what's going on, it just kicked on. Tyler went and kicked it on. Sounds like it might be low on refrigerant. So we got the smart tool hooked up and we are going to sit here for a minute and let it settle out and see if we are low on refrigerant. And this, by the way, this is R22. I don't know. I mean, we don't look too bad. Tyler's going to crack the coil open. This is the indoor equipment is a gas furnace with an upflow evaporator. It's all matched York equipment. He's going to go stick his head inside the cabinet. Now, most of these Yorks came with pistons in their coils, but my father was very notorious for taking the orifice out and adding a TXV. So Tyler's going to go poke his head in the coil to see if Daddy did add a TXV to this one. If he did, I mean, the subcooling would be off by a hair, but I mean, this doesn't look horrible. So we'll see what we see. My helper today, fellas. Guys, it ended up being a piston. The charge wasn't that far off. Matter of fact, I think it was in the 5 range of superheat. But I think I found what's really going on with this unit. That contactor in there is smoked. And this is like the 3rd contactor I've had to put on here. I'm thinking that this compressor is fixing to bite the dust. And we're going to test that right now with the Megger and see what it's reading. Okay guys, I've already tested it, but I just want to show y'all. We got one on common and one to the copper pipe there. I tested all 3 of them and they're all 3 reading this. There's nothing wrong with that. So why this thing keeps eating contactors, I do not know. We'll check the fan motor and see what it reads. Okay guys, I have the Megger hooked up to the condenser motor. That's not good. That could be what's eating these contactors. Alright guys, we got to add just a hair of charge. The recommended superheat is 18. We're 10 degrees off of that mark. And we're going to have to change out the contactor and get him a condenser motor. I'm waiting on the York store to call me back. See if they got one in stock, which they probably don't. If not, we will return, change the condenser motor, put a new contactor, and he should be fine. So once we get the condenser motor, we will continue this job. But right now we're going to add some charge so we can get the charge correct and he'll have some kind of cooling until we can get the motor installed. Okay guys, we're at the LSU York unit. There's a lot of York units in this area, particularly because of my father. I know I talked to a lot of guys on here that they don't see a lot of York equipment. So I know a pretty good bit about the equipment, so I'm going to give you a tip. If you do run into York equipment and you have to change the condenser motor, as you can see what we're doing here, this is the new motor. It's very important that you go get the OEM motor on York equipment. If you try to put a universal motor on York equipment, there are some units it will work on, some of their older ones. This unit here is called the Affinity series, not Infinity. Infinity is carrier, this is the Affinity. If you try to put a universal motor on this particular condensing unit, it will not work. It will not discharge air properly. You're going to have nothing but trouble. This is the OEM replacement motor right here, and you have to go back with it, or it absolutely will not work. So I just thought I would share that. And another thing I want to say, these York Affinity units are a 3-way coil, okay? There's a coil here, there's a coil here, and there's a coil back here where I'm standing. Now every time I work on a Rude unit, I get a compliment saying, well, you should have put the door on and you'd get better pressure readings. Well, that's just not true with root and ream, guys. I mean, we all know that root and ream coils wrap all the way around, so even if you have the door off, you still see the coil. Now, on this unit, you don't. This unit, if you look right here, that's the door to the unit, okay? So when you take that door off, this is what happens. Come around over here. This is what a York Affinity looks like with the door off. See, it's all open. You can see the compressor. You can see you can see everything in here. You cannot charge a unit, a York Affinity unit, with this door off. But with root and ream, you can charge a unit with door off because the coil wraps all the way. You cannot see in there. So to the guys that are commenting telling me that about root and ream putting the door on, I don't know if it's just because you don't know or if you're just trying to, be a troll on here or what, but hopefully you just don't understand, and I'm not being mean, I'm just trying to help you and teach you that root and ream, you can charge them without the door on. These particular units, you cannot, because it's wide open. So, we're going to continue. I'm going to flip this over, wire it up. We're going to take a reading with the megameter again, because you saw that the megameter was reading in the caution on the old motor. So let's get this hooked up and then we'll take another reading. Alright guys, here's our two parts we changed out. There's the old motor, there's the old contactor. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but it is extremely black in there. It's not going to show up, but it's bad. It's very bad. It's very black. So there's a fresh contactor, and you saw the fan motor. We didn't take a mega ohm reading because, keep in mind, this is not the same day I had to order the motor. This is a couple days later, and I've seemed to misplace my mega. I don't know what I did with it. I think I know where it's at. I think I left it on a job somewhere. But I will show y'all this. You hear that? See all the slack in that motor? It may not look that bad on camera, but trust me, it's bad. You can see it. That baby right there is gone. Alright guys, we're going to see if the homeowner left the door open for me. They were supposed to, and then we'll fire her up. Alright guys, here we go. That's better. It even sounds better than it did the other day. Alright, well as y'all saw, we've already checked charge on it. And you can see right here, this is an Affinity 2S, which means it's an Affinity 12 SEER. And this is R22. This is when York was still decent. I think this is right when Johnson Controls, when JCI bought them. But JCI hadn't quite ruined them yet. They were still using the old York design. But this is a good unit. It's been a good unit for these people. It's 10 years old. And this is the first major repair it's ever had besides the contactor and the capacitor, which is normal. But this is the first major repair as far as a fan motor or anything like that. So, alright guys, well she's up and running, and thanks for watching, and we will see you guys on the next one. Alright, I just want to throw this in there real quick. A lot of guys think that LSU York unit is a custom paint job. That's not a custom paint job. They don't do it anymore. York still does build the Affinity unit to this day, but they do not do what I'm about to explain anymore. Back in that time, and then a few years later on, those panels where you saw the LSU, all it is 2 screws and they pop off. Now they don't come like that, but you were able to order any college team in the country Georgia, Oklahoma, Florida, you know, I can't name them all. Any college team in the country you wanted, you could get to put on that unit. Basically what you do is you tell your supply house, hey, I need a 4-ton heat pump system, affinity model, and the customer wants LSU panels, or the customer wants Florida panels, or the customer wants Texas Longhorn panels, whatever. And they would send you the panels separate, and when you get to the job site, you just simply swap them out. No big deal. And for a while there, York even made camouflage panels for hunters, and they also made, and I do believe they still to this day make these. They made just solid color ones, like to match your house. Like we did an affinity system, I don't know, it's been probably 7 years ago. Hell, probably longer than that. And she wanted maroon panels, maroon reddish panels on her unit to match her house. So it's just solid maroon panels. I do believe York still offers those with the affinity, but I could be wrong about that because I don't keep up with York anymore and I don't sell it. Anyway. Alright guys, I just thought I'd throw that in there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.